Hey everyone, and welcome to this session in our Squid Dive webinar series. My name is Sam Alexander. I'm one of the pre-sales engineers here at Skuid, and I'll be leading today's discussion. Skuid is a platform that enables rapid app creation, leveraging data from just about any system with an open API. Today, we'll discuss Lightning migration. And for more information on how Skuid works as a super component in Lightning, visit skuid.com/lightning. So while Skuid works with a myriad of different data systems, today's session is going to focus on the value that Skuid brings to Salesforce.com in particular, namely how Skuid can ease the transition to the Lightning experience for existing Salesforce customers. Here's what you can expect to see over the course of this webinar. So I'll start off with a very quick overview of Skuid to provide some context for those not as familiar with our platform. And if you'd like a bit more of an in-depth overview of Skuid, you can check out our Intro to Skuid webinar from a couple weeks back. You can find that on our website. So next, we'll move into an overview of why we're even talking about Lightning migration. What are the challenges and where can Skuid help? Then we'll dig in and show you a tangible example of the power of Skuid by rebuilding a moderately complex custom Salesforce solution in about 5 minutes. And then we're going to talk about and even show you what that looks like to move that new Skuid solution to Lightning in even less time. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with a quick overview. So what exactly is Skuid and how does it work? Well, in a nutshell, Skuid is a no-code platform that enables you to rapidly create tailor-made applications that leverage the data you already have, but in more effective ways. So basically, Skuid makes it easier and faster to build business apps that your users actually love to use. I think this slide does a good job of visualizing this. First, you start with the data sources you want Skuid to leverage. These can be virtually any system with an open API. And the logos on the left really only represent a small number of the data sources Skuid can work with. But I know that this particular audience is obviously cares a lot about that big blue cloud in the middle. So we'll be focusing a lot on that one today. So once you make the connection to Skuid, then you can start building your apps in our platform with that data you've connected. Whether it be Salesforce or any of those other systems you're seeing on the left, or the myriad of other systems we can also work with. Our app building environment consists of 4 main pieces. Models, which are represented in that orange square there on the left. And those are just the way Skuid works with data. Components, there in the blue, are basically the drag and drop Lego building blocks that you use to build the visual and functional pieces of your app. And then we have a code-free business logic layer that's spanning the bottom there in green. And that's basically how we allow you to build interactivity and process logic into your pages without having to write code. And then there's also a code-free design piece as well that makes it easy to completely control the look and feel of your apps without having to write things like CSS or, in the case of Salesforce, custom Visualforce code. And so all those pieces come together to form your end result, a better, more consumer-grade user experience around the data you already have. But what does that look like? What do I mean by consumer-grade? What do I mean by apps? Well, it can look like a few different things. Really, it can look like a lot of different things. In this case, on this slide on the left, we're seeing an employee management app pulling data from MySQL, which has a completely different look and feel than the inside sales app there in the middle, using data from Salesforce. And that has an even more different look and feel than the event management app on the far right, pulling data from Amazon Redshift. So as different as each of these apps are, just remember, they were each built with Skuid. Skuid is not a set of pre-built apps and solutions. Again, it's a powerful no-code platform that lets you build whatever you want, but in 90% less time than writing custom code. So unfortunately, if anyone joined this webinar to see what Skuid looks like, these are really just 3 of a potentially infinite number of examples. But you are going to see a few more examples throughout the remainder of this webinar. So now let's discuss how a rapid application development platform like Skuid can help existing Salesforce customers migrate their custom solutions to Lightning. Well, first, why are we even talking about this? Why do existing Salesforce shops even need help moving to Lightning? Well, let me start by saying that we are Salesforce partners, and we're constantly urging our own customers to migrate to Lightning. And there's two main reasons we're so adamant that existing Salesforce customers upgrade. First, Salesforce has made some significant upgrades to their Lightning experience, both in out-of-the-box UI enhancements and added functionality. And second, Skuid and Lightning are even better together. So for current Skuid customers, if you thought Skuid added a lot to your Salesforce Classic deployments, seriously, just wait until you see some of the new Skuid functionality that's actually only made possible by Lightning. So all that said, in order for Salesforce to make such heavy enhancements to their platform, they had to change a lot of the underlying architecture. More specifically, they switched to what's called a component-based architecture. And it's not important that you know exactly what that is for the purposes of this webinar, but it is important that you understand that customizations made on Classic with code like Visualforce and JavaScript that weren't built with this new architecture in mind may not work as designed when translated over to Lightning, and some significant modifications will most likely be required. So, if your Salesforce environment sits anywhere between light to heavily customized, and you're considering moving to Lightning, you're probably trying to figure out the best way to do that with minimal disruption to your business. And that's where Skuid comes in. Skuid is native to the Salesforce platform, and it works seamlessly in both Salesforce Classic and Lightning. So if you are a current Skuid customer and you've been using Skuid as your quote-unquote customization engine rather than custom code, well, great news. And I'm actually really excited to be the one to break this to you if you didn't know it already. You can move to Lightning whenever you want, actually. Your Skuid pages are going to look and perform the same way in either environment. And I know that's a big statement to make, so let me show you exactly what I mean with a quick demo. So I'll jump out of the presentation here. And now I'm in our demo environment. And what you're looking at now is a custom Skuid page. You know, it's all custom, but this is a Skuid page that was built as what we like to call our CEO dashboard demo. So it was a page that is meant to be a dashboard, a high-level overview of a company, both from sales revenues, and pipeline overview, as well as top performers around maybe account executives or products or accounts. And that's all pulling from Salesforce. But then in addition to that, there's some high-level information around human resources data, as well as accounting data, and that's pulling from Oracle HR. So two different data systems on the back end of this page, but both being pulled in by Skuid into one seamless user experience to add value, offer value to maybe a C-level or an SVP of a company. So this page right here is currently sitting within Salesforce Classic. It's within a Visualforce wrapper, which is how Skuid deploys within Salesforce Classic. And I'm going to move this over to Lightning in just a few seconds, so you guys can see exactly what that process looks like. And so when we want to move a Skuid page over to Lightning, the first thing we need to do is grab the name of that Skuid page. So within Skuid, you can always find the name of your page up in the URL. So it's going to be right here. This dashboard demo is the name of our page. So I'm going to highlight that. We're going to copy it to the clipboard and save it for later. So I just clicked over to the Lightning App Builder tab. And for those of you not familiar with the Lightning App Builder, basically what it is it's where you can build your custom layouts and custom pages within Lightning. So if you don't want to use their out-of-the-box layouts, they provided this really great new way to leverage this component-based architecture and let you drag and drop some of their own out-of-the-box components, as well as some custom components into pages, and build out your own layouts to suit your business a little bit better. And so Skuid leverages this to deploy in Lightning. So let's go ahead and create a new app page. We'll call this Classic to Lightning webinar. Skuid supports, it works with all these different layouts, but I'm just going to use one column for the sake of simplicity. So we'll go ahead and hit finish there. All right, so here we are within the Lightning App Builder. You'll notice a few of Salesforce's out-of-the-box components, things you're probably familiar with already, things like list views, report charts, rich text. You can even embed Visualforce pages if those pages have been tested and they're ready for Lightning. But we're not going to worry about any of these standard components over here. We're actually going to jump down to our custom managed components. And you'll see Skuid page down here on the left. And basically what this is it's a custom Lightning component installed as part of the Skuid managed package when you install Skuid into your org. And this is a super simple component. It's actually about as simple as it gets. And you'll see what I mean when I drag it into the page. It actually only has one property, and the whole point of this component is just to surface whatever Skuid pages you build, but in Lightning as opposed to Salesforce Classic. So we're going to jump over to the page name here, and I'm just going to paste in the name of the page that we grabbed earlier. I'll hit enter, and you'll start to see this blue bar loading across the top. And there you have it. Just like that, we've got our Skuid page being brought into the Lightning App Builder. And the really cool thing is we can see this preview in real time. It's a really great UI for building your apps. And it's really cool to be able to see our Skuid page fully functioning without even having to deploy it yet. So what we're seeing is all of the different data pulling in properly, all the charts being populated properly, even the external data that's pulling from Oracle HR. That's pulling in as well. So we know, based on all these values and all these different visualizations being properly populated, that this page is working and that it's going to work just fine in Lightning. And so if I were to go through the administrative process of saving this, deploying it, and choosing where it goes in my navigation, essentially, then I can rest assured that's going to work just fine. And this is going to work the exact same way with every Skuid page you build. And that's a really powerful thing for any current Skuid customers out there. Hopefully this has given you some ease and let you know that it's not going to be as hard a road to Lightning as you may have initially thought. So let me jump back into the presentation here. Okay, so we've talked about now what it looks like for existing Skuid customers to move their customizations to Lightning. And that's great. It's really powerful. We've seen it in real time. But what about non-Skuid customers? I want to address you as well, because actually I'm willing to bet that probably 90% of the folks listening right now are not Skuid customers. Otherwise, honestly, you'd probably be on Lightning already. And for those of you who aren't currently leveraging our platform, you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's all well and good for the folks that built their custom apps with Skuid, but we're way too far down the road of custom code. And it would probably take too long to transition our custom coded solutions over to Skuid, right? Okay, so you may or may not have actually been thinking that verbatim. It's wishful thinking on my part, probably, because it sets up my next point. But I'm actually going to show you what it would look like to turn a custom coded solution into a Skuid solution. And I'm going to do it in real time. And I think you'd be surprised at how little time it actually takes. And so to demonstrate how Skuid can fit into the Lightning migration strategy of a company that doesn't currently use our platform, I'm going to take a sample custom coded solution that consists of 3 kinds of code: Visualforce, JavaScript, and 2 Apex classes. Again, just different types of code used to customize Salesforce Classic. And I'm going to rebuild that solution with Skuid. And while this particular solution would probably have taken an experienced Salesforce developer anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to build with code, I'm going to rebuild it in about 5 minutes. Now, it may or may not be exactly 5 minutes, but we're going to try to be as close to that as possible as I go through explaining stuff. So get ready to put 5 minutes on the clock. And in order to get this done in that 5-minute window, I'm going to be moving pretty quickly. So don't worry if you aren't fully following what I'm doing. I won't be going into much detail on it. I'll try to explain a little bit, but really the point of this is just to show how quickly you could build if you're proficient with Skuid. And really anyone who has had Skuid for some time is going to be proficient with it and moving pretty fast. So this is really just to demonstrate that. And if you guys have any questions on exactly what I'm doing, we would obviously love to have follow-up conversations with anyone who attended this webinar to go into some more detail. So let's jump in back to our demo environment. And before you actually set your clocks, let's take a look at the page we'll actually be building. So this is a custom Visualforce page, like I mentioned before, built with a few different kinds of code. And I think we can all agree it's really not that impressive. It doesn't look that great. And actually the functionality, as handy as it is pretty basic. So really all you're doing on this page, all it's allowing you to do is at the point of account record creation, it also allows you to create related contacts and opportunities. Very handy, and something that Salesforce doesn't do out of the box. But really not that impressive. And for that 2 to 4 hour time allocation, honestly, it just does not seem like an appropriate use of time. So let's take a look also at the code that actually went into this page. You don't need to know what you're looking at here, but I'll just scroll down. This is the Visualforce page with some Apex in there, as well as some custom JavaScript. We've got the first of our 2 Apex classes, and then we have the second of our 2 Apex classes. And so somewhere around 300 lines of code went into building this. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to show you exactly what functionality is happening here so we can be sure that we actually build this the right way and we're making sure we have all the functionality in the new Skuid solution. But then we're going to try to rebuild this page and see if we can do it in a more appropriate amount of time. So let me just go ahead and create an account here. I'll call it custom coded solution. And I'll give it an industry. It's already got a type. I'll just leave it at that. So now it's out of contact. Name him custom code. Poor guy. Must have had a rough time in middle school. We'll give him a phone number, 1 through 9. And how about custom code at salesforce.com. Okay, so we've got our new contact. Let's go ahead and also add an opportunity. And let's say that for this hypothetical company, I want to always have the same opportunity naming convention if it's the first opportunity on the account record. So let's say if the name of the account is custom coded solution, I want to take that name and then I want to add hyphen initial to show it's the initial opportunity for that account. And then let's add an amount. How about 1, 2, 3? Stage, we'll give it a stage of commit, and we'll say it'll close at the end of the month. Okay, go ahead and save that. And so we can see if we go up here to our search bar, we search custom coded solution. There it is. Okay, so it went ahead and created that record, that account record, the contact, and the opportunity for us. And you'll see I also have created one before with the same name. So there's a couple in there. But it seems simple enough. I think we can. I think we're ready to dive into the Skuid Composer and rebuild the same thing. So here we are in the Skuid Composer environment. You can go ahead and start your clocks here in about 10 seconds. I won't spend much time orienting you and showing you where you are, but I'm just going to start getting to work, and I think we can knock this out. So the first thing we need to do when we're building a new Skuid page is add some data. And since the whole purpose of this page is to create new accounts, contacts, and opportunities, we're going to need 3 models, one for each of those objects that we're working with. And the first one we're going to call new account. And then we're going to choose Salesforce as our data source type, our current org as our particular data source, and then account as the object we're working with. And let's change some properties on here to say create a new account for me to enter data into. And there's only 3 fields we're going to need here. We're just going to need the name, going to need the industry, and the type. Okay, so we've got those. So now let's go ahead and create a field editor with that. I'm going to remove the section headers here. Don't really care about those. I'm going to take the record type ID out of here. I don't need that. Move the type over here, make it look as close to the other solution as possible. And then let's put this in edit mode, show, save, cancel. Perfect. Let's preview this. Okay, so very, very straightforward. What we're looking at right now is 3 fields for us to fill in and create a new account. So if I wanted to stop right here, I could just create a brand new account and be done with it. But that's not the full solution, is it? We need to also create a new contact and a new opportunity and be able to associate it with this account. So I'll jump back to my composing environment. And what I'll do is I'll create another model, this one now called new contact. We'll change some properties over here. We'll go ahead and tell this to work with the contact object in Salesforce. And now let's bring in the fields we're going to need. So we'll need the first name, the last name, the phone, the business phone is what we'll need, and the email. Perfect. And so now let's also put a condition on this model that says anytime a new contact is created on this page, I want it to be associated with the new account I just created. So I'm going to say the account ID must be equal to field from another model. We're going to say equal to the ID of that new account I just created. That's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and create a table for this guy. We got first name, last name, business phone, email. Great. I'm going to go ahead and add a title to this. I'll say add contacts. I'll take out the save cancel. We'll give it a global save cancel at the top here in just a moment. Okay, that's all looking good. Let's go ahead and do the exact same thing for opportunities. So we'll go down to my other model here, call this new opportunity. Took me a moment to remember how to spell opportunity there. Okay, go down to opportunity. Again, change some properties here. Now for this model, the fields we're going to need are opportunity name, obviously, the stage, the amount, and the close date. Now let's put that same condition on this one to make sure it's only creating related opportunities. So we'll say the account ID must be equal to field from another model, new account ID. Perfect. Okay, so now let's create a table for that guy. We'll call this add opportunities, plural. Let's take the record type out of there. We won't need that. All right, let's also take the save cancel button off this one. We've got a title on there. Okay, so let's take a very quick look, see what we've got here. Perfect. Okay, so it's coming together. So we've got our create new account section, and then this will be the table where we create new contacts, and this will be the one where we create new opportunities. But now we need an action that's going to actually create those records. So let's go ahead and create those buttons. So the first one I'll add to new contacts. I'm going to call this create new contact. Add a little plus icon here so we know we're actually doing record creation. We'll add 2 actions. The first one's going to be save model changes. And I'm going to save new account. We want to make sure the account we've created has been saved so that we can associate the contact with something within the Salesforce side. So we'll go ahead and save that, and then we'll have this create a new row, create it in the new contact model, and we'll put it in edit mode so we can start adding stuff. And then we'll do the same thing for our opportunity table here. We'll add create new op, put a plus icon here, 2 actions, save new contact, and then create new row. Great, that's looking nice. And last but not least, let's add a global save action at the top. So we'll take this save and cancel out of there. We'll add a button set to the top, add 2 buttons, one for save. We'll give it a save action and tell it to save all models on the page. And then let's do a cancel. do the exact same thing, but with canceling. Tell it to cancel all models on the page. So now let's refresh our page and see what we got. Okay, so you can go ahead and stop your timers. I'll be honest, I have no idea how long that took me. Hopefully it was somewhere around 5 minutes. But let's go ahead and test this page out and see if it does everything we needed it to. So the first thing we'll do, let's type in something like custom Skuid solution. Okay. Give it an industry. Engineering sounds fine. Account type defaults to prospect. That's great. We'll create a new contact. Okay, that worked well. We'll call this custom Skuid. Again, another bad name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as the phone number. Very realistic. And then we'll say custom.skuid@skuid.com. I did not do a good job typing that. Okay. Do the same thing with opportunities. Oh, you know what I did? I told it to create a new record in the account section as opposed to the opportunity section. Very easy fix. Jump back here and let's tell it to create a new row, but in new opportunity. Okay. So let's try this one more time. Okay, so we'll say custom Skuid solution, opportunity, give it the industry, add contact, custom Skuid. Skuid.com. Okay, so now when we create a new op, it creates the row here. So that's the really powerful thing about Skuid is how quickly you can go back and make changes and iterations and quickly build these things out. So we'll do the same naming convention we did before. Custom Skuid solution, so name of the account, hyphen initial. We'll say this is the first opportunity on this account. We'll give it an amount of 1, 2, 3, 4, and a close date of 31. Perfect. End of the month, save, and there you have it. So we see these go back to read-only mode. They are saved, they're committed back to Salesforce, and if I were to jump back here, and I were to search for, we'll probably need to refresh this page to be able to actually see it. But we'll say Skuid solution. There it is. Custom Skuid solution, custom Skuid solution, custom Skuid. There we go. There's our contact, account, and opportunity. So there you have it, guys. We rebuilt that page in about 5 minutes. And so think about that ratio. Think about that ratio between 2 to 4 hours and 5 minutes. And at the very least, we have now seen that Skuid can get your custom solutions over to Lightning in a very small amount of time. But I've got a few rhetorical questions for you now. I don't know if you saw the exclamation point turn to a question mark. But I've got some, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment. So should we consider this a win if all we do is maintain the status quo through our transition from Classic to Lightning? So what I mean is, just because we can move our existing solutions over to Lightning without changing the way they function, is that actually what's best for the business? As our business and the market around it has changed, are the solutions we currently have still the most effective? And what we find working with customers is that the answer to that last question is usually no, if those custom solutions have been around for any number of years or sometimes months, depending on the industry you're in and how fast-paced it is. The game is always changing. And when you have the chance to move as quickly as you can with Skuid, we will always recommend refining the solution if possible. In fact, if you're familiar with the double diamond approach to design, where it's represented here in this visual, I won't go into too much detail on it. I definitely recommend you go look it up. It's a really fascinating and effective methodology that starts with gathering information, refining that down to get to a plan, and then taking that plan and turning that and gathering more information around that from users and doing user testing and refining that and deploying the right thing. And this is our company's approach to building products for our customers. And if it were up to us, we'd have all of you use this move to Lightning as an excuse to redefine the problems you're working for, or the problems you're solving for, map it out and test new solutions with your users, and then deploy even better solutions than before. And so that said, let's wrap up today's webinar with just one more quick demo. And let's see what that same solution I just built could look like with just another hour. I'm serious, one more hour of refining, just a little more love, a little more extra attention to detail, a little more attention to how users are going to work with it and what might make it easier for them. So let's jump out of our presentation one last time, jump back over to our demo environment, and I'll go to my last tab here. So this is a solution that I built that accomplishes the exact same thing as the solution I just built for you guys live. But I built this before the webinar with a couple extra things that are different. One, you'll notice the theming is different. So I actually leveraged that theming, the styling tool that I mentioned earlier when I was talking about how Skuid works. And so this whole theme, this great new fresh look and feel was done without any code, any CSS or Visualforce. And so for one, that's important to users. It's definitely not everything, but since we do live in a society where users are exposed to so many different consumer grade applications, whether they're buying products online or they're using great looking apps on their phone, your users, whether you know it or not, are actually accustomed to a certain standard of look and feel with their apps. And so with our theme composer, with our styling tool, you can, without code, deliver those same sorts of stunning visuals to your business applications. So I gave a little preview of that. Additionally, there's some things about this app, as great as it is, as handy as it is, there's some things that I thought were a little confusing about it. So first, when a user comes to this page, they're presented with three different options of things they could do. So most users would probably just start with the account and then create the new contact and op. But for the odd user that actually jumps down here and creates a contact first or an opportunity first, they're going to get an error up here that says, whoa, you haven't created an account yet. And that's a great error. It's a good error to get. It's going to direct them back to the account to create one first before they create a contact. But wouldn't it be great if we didn't disrupt the user experience? Wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to throw an error to begin with, but rather we just guided the user through the proper click path, guided the user through the proper journey, and made sure they didn't run into errors. They just did things in the right order without even having to really think about it. And so I incorporated that into the new solution. And additionally, I leveraged some really cool Skuid features that are, again, out of the box and no code. Things like conditional rendering to show and hide pieces of the page and data based on where the user is in the process at any given point. Additionally, using our actions framework to pre-populate a field that just makes the user's job a little bit easier. So let's see what all that looks like in real time. So I'll go ahead and type in something like Skuid optimized solution for the account name. And if you missed it, once I typed in, I spelled optimized incorrectly. Once I typed in the account name, over here, I am now, as the end user, presented with an add contact and add opportunity option. So Skuid conditional rendering can be leveraged with anything on a Skuid page, anything as granular as a single field, all the way up to an entire page section. It really doesn't matter, but really just about anything on a Skuid page can be conditionally rendered based on any logic you can think of. And so it's a really powerful way to present users with only what they need when they need it. And so let's say I want to add a contact. Again, another example of conditional rendering and great styling. I'm now presented with the next table I need to enter my new contact. You guys have seen me create too many contacts in this webinar, so I won't do it again. But what I am going to do is I'm going to click this Add Opportunity button. And one thing I do want to show you is now take a look down here in the left and take a look at this field down here, the name. It's been pre-populated with that standard naming convention that I've been using this whole time. So Skuid has a business logic layer that lets you say things like, okay, if this is the first record created on this account, the first opportunity record created on this account, then go ahead and pre-populate this field with the name of the account hyphen the word initial. And Skuid can handle all that logic without you having to write a single line of code. It's really easy to deploy. So when I say 1 extra hour to get this caliber of great end user experience, I really mean it. You move really quickly when you build with our platform, and you can end up with some really amazing stuff that just makes your users' jobs a lot easier. And again, gives them a business application or a business platform that they actually love to use. Imagine that. So I'll jump back into the presentation one last time. Let's do a bit of review. You saw it in the the initial overview of the webinar, so I figure we should do it. So the first place I want to start with our review is where have we been and where did we go? So this is where we started. This was the custom Visualforce code solution. I think you can all, especially after seeing what we ended up building, I think we can all agree it's not the best looking solution. It was functional. It did its job. It had its day, but it no longer has any place in the Lightning experience. So especially when you think about the amount of code that went into this. This is not even all of it. I tried my best to get it all into this page with some organizing, but it was tough. There's a lot of code that went into this. And so even if you're a proficient Salesforce developer, really just the tediousness of this process is what takes you the most time. Even if you know exactly what you're building, that's a lot to type out. And so that's really why you end up with that 2 to 4 hour timeline to create something like this. And so then we went here, and a couple things you notice off the bat: it's cleaner. It's already in the Lightning theme. Skuid has an out-of-the-box Lightning theme that is completely in line with the Lightning design system. We designed it with that in mind. And so you can build a completely Lightning look ready and Lightning look and feel application in just minutes compared to hours. And when you look at the amount of code that went into this one, I am very aware there is no code on this page. It's just a Skuid, a no code joke around here. But when you think about that, it's pretty nice how quickly you can move without having to write a single line of code. And then we finished here, and I think everyone in the audience will agree that this is definitely the cleanest solution, and this solution really reduced a lot of clicks and a lot of unnecessary brain power for an end user with just a little more effort. Still half the time, at least half the time of the amount of effort that went into that first one. But even with a little extra time added, the end result, the end product that you end up delivering to your end users, it just adds so much value and makes them more effective and hopefully more happy when they go home to their families, when they've been working in your systems all day. That's really the ultimate goal here. So a few things I want everyone to leave with here today. So the first thing, Skuid's no-code framework can get you to Lightning faster. That's the main thing I want everyone here who's not on Lightning to realize. If you are wondering how you're going to make that transition, Skuid is a great solution to get you over to the Lightning experience much faster. And we, again, are constantly encouraging folks to get there as fast as possible. It's a really great new platform. So also, Skuid is a more sustainable, future-proofed, fault-tolerant customization framework than code going forward. So when you're writing custom code, not only does it take lots of time, but you're having to write test code on that code to make sure it's going to deploy properly and work properly. Skuid doesn't require that. Skuid, you saw how easy it was to quickly build, preview, and deploy a Skuid page. And that's really where it becomes a scalable and future-proof solution. And you don't have to worry about, as Salesforce continues to improve their platform and deliver awesome improvements to the Salesforce experience, as their structure and their architecture might change in the future, Skuid's going to remain in lockstep with that. And we're going to make sure that we manage the compatibility of your customizations with their platform, as opposed to you having to do it with your own custom code. So Squid also, I touched on this earlier, but I want to reiterate, Squid also allows for seamless integration with other systems. So in addition to allowing you to provide this great end user experience and do that quickly, you can also provide that same user experience across all your different platforms. Use Salesforce as your single system of record, but also bring in data from all of your other systems that your users are working in every single day. Give it to them in that one simple, seamless user experience that you're building with Squid on Salesforce. And that, again, when you're talking about user experience, delivering everything that a user needs in their day in one fell swoop, in one application, that's very powerful. And so if you guys have more questions on that, again, reach out to us. We'd love to show you guys some examples of how our customers have used this functionality to deliver some awesome end user experiences for their users. And lastly, the speed of no code allows for more time spent on product development. So you can get to the functional piece of your apps. You can get a minimum viable product stood up in minutes, weeks, however big the project is. It's going to be a fraction of the time that it would have taken to code that solution. But then your work's not done there. Really, what we're doing is we're giving you more time back to spend more time on product development, making sure that what you're actually building is the right solution for your users, not just what you think they need, but what they tell you they need. And so that's a really important pillar here at Squid. We really try to focus on the user experience, and really the whole purpose of our no-code rapid development platform is to give you more time to spend on that aspect of everything. And that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned some things. And honestly, again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to follow up with any of you on this stuff, and make sure you all are clear on how Squid can fit into the Lightning migration strategy of any customer or non-Squid customer that's planning to make that transition. So thank you all, and look forward to hearing from you all soon.